Welcome to the Undisputed podcast. I'm your host, Jenny Taft. This podcast is a condensed version of today's episode of Undisputed, handpicked with the best segments and discussions. Skip, Shannon, let's go.
Good morning. Happy Monday. Welcome to Undisputed, live from Los Angeles. I'm Jenny Taft alongside Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp. Guys, good morning.
Yeah, you glad to have me back, aren't you?
Yeah, so how was it for you two in Canton over the
Well,
weekend?
look.
I just want to know. Jenny had her bags packed too.
Jenny went to Minnesota.
Oh,
Jenny
she went to
home.
Minnesota.
Yes.
Different Midwest.
That's a clever dodge, but it's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
See, that's how rumors
had
get
fun.
started, Skip.
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
I don't know. I
That's how
just
rumors-
jumped to that
Yeah,
conclusion.
you
I'm
just
sorry.
jumped to that conclusion.
Yeah. Well, how was it, Shannon?
Oh,
So
you
her first.
Yeah.
Okay.
God, you be making up stories, fabrications.
Good
You
weekend,
loved it,
though?
It was a great weekend. Had a great time. Great time catching up with the guys.
Well, I want to hear all about it.
You
Let's
too.
go.
And since you were in Canton, let's start there. Let's start with the Hall of Fame. 8 new members were inducted into the Hall on Saturday. The night was highlighted by great speeches from Randy Moss and our own Ray Lewis, who both made it on the first ballot. Let's take a listen to Randy and Ray.
Baltimore! Baltimore, ready? Go. There's somebody sitting home right now. There's a young 10-year-old kid sitting home that don't have a father. And he's ready to join the gang. He's ready to give up. I'm telling you, don't give in. And don't ever give up. That ain't what we do.
Bill Belichick, I'm not gonna forget about you. I want to thank you for being a friend when it wasn't always about football. You showed me how much I love the game. You challenged me every day to go out here and be great. For all my teammates, coaches, equipment managers that's in attendance today, I want to thank you all, because it doesn't take one, it takes all 11 of us. All the way from the streets of Rand, West Virginia. Maxine Patricia Moss, we are in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. God bless and have a good night.
Oh, I love I could listen to those all day. Gives you the chills. Shannon, what was your biggest takeaway from the weekend?
It was a great weekend. It's always good to get back, Skip, and catch up with the guys, because we don't get a chance to get together much, Skip. Basically, it's the Hall of Fame or the Super Bowl. They invite a lot of the guys back, and so it's not very often that we're able to get together and catch up. But this was a great weekend. I've known Ray for over 2 decades, and I had a feeling I knew kind of where his speech was going to head. I think the biggest takeaway is that he had the Madonna mic and that he spent like 0 seconds actually behind the podium.
0.
So this is kind of.
But he spent 33 minutes speaking.
He did, which is not the longest.
No, Brett Favre still holds the record.
Brett Favre holds
You
the
should have
6
told
minutes.
Ray, you should have encouraged him to go for broke, go for the record.
Well, I think he was going for as long as he possibly could. And I like his message. I understood. And I knew, kind of like I said, I've known Ray for 2 decades. So I had an idea of where he was going to go with his and the message that he was going to try to get across. I was shocked with Randy Moss because I didn't know this about him. Skip, people think because you play in a league with someone, you know that person. I did not know how much faith and family meant to Randy Moss. I didn't know how much football meant to Randy, because there are times it looked like he could care less about football.
Yep.
But hearing him talk and about his faith, and hearing him talk about how his family and his mom in particular, growing up in Rand, West Virginia, and we remember the documentary they did, I think it was 30 for 30, and his upbringing and how it almost got derailed. To hear him talk, Skip, I was really, really impressed with Randy Moss. He impressed me. I learned things about him that I didn't already know. And the biggest thing was his tie. The names, the Eric Garners, the Sandra Blands, the Tamir Rices, the Alton Sterlings, the people that tragically lost their lives at the hands of police brutality, and what some of the players of the NFL, why they're kneeling, why they're raising their fists, why they're trying to raise awareness. Skip, the Hall of Fame started in 1963, the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and I think far as back as 1970, they're on television. So when you look back 25 years from now, you're going to be able to look at that tie, and I'm sure there'll be people, who are those names? And then they'll Google, and then they'll understand.
Yep.
And for Randy to tell these families, you're not alone, you're not forgotten. We still think about you. We still here fighting for you and others like you. It was great. But to hear Randy get up there, and all the speeches were good. Bobby Beathard, I know him. You know, I was in the league when he was a general manager. Urlacher played against him. He's one of those guys. You don't see linebackers his size, Skip. 6'4", 250 pounds, and could run. Like you said, he came in as a safety. They transitioned him to middle linebacker. He was a special player. Played against B-Dog. I told B-Dog, you know I hit you up for a tub in 98. He said, don't tell nobody. I said, okay, I ain't gonna tell nobody. You know, got him, Skip. Had to get him, Skip. You know, sometimes I got to let him know.
Well, that was the only time.
I think that was actually the only time that we played Philly in my career while he was there. But it was great to hear, like I said, to hear Randy's speech. Kind of knew where Ray was going to go. I know Ray very well, and some of the things that he was saying I had heard, and he would just wanted to get his point across. I thought all the speeches were great, but Randy Moss, I learned something different. I got a whole new profound respect for him, and I learned so much more about him.
Likewise, I'm going to get to Randy's speech in one moment, but first of all, I have to ask the question, why was Bill Belichick there? I want to know the answer to that question. And so was Mr. Kraft.
Yes.
Robert Kraft
Yes.
was there.
Yes.
And I'm going to remind everyone that Randy Moss's tenure in New England ended really badly. Do you remember that that year? 2010 or 2010.
Yeah, because he was 7, 8, 9. Yeah.
Okay, 2010. Starts out game 2. Tom Brady throws 10 balls Randy Moss's way, and he catches only 2 of them. And it started to unwind from that point forward, to unravel, because it looked to me like Randy Moss no longer was trying when he was on the field for the New England Patriots in game 3, and especially game 4, you'll remember, was at Miami on a Monday night.
Right.
And Tom Brady threw 1 ball in Randy's direction, and he caught no balls for the first time ever in his tenure in New England.
Right.
And during that game, according to ESPN, Jeff Chadiha reported that Tom Brady told Bill Belichick, look, you can keep him if you want to, but I'm not throwing him any more balls this season. That's how bad it had degenerated to at that point. I just want to frame this for everybody because it was an inglorious end to that stint. And started off hugely in 2007, and Randy still holds touchdowns record, 23.
And it just so happens, Skip, he got the 23rd on the one that Brady broke the record with 50.
And then Peyton broke Tom's record.
Randy wanted a new contract, and it had a lot to do with that. And you know, Coach Belichick and them, when they say they're not doing a new deal, they're not doing a new deal.
Okay.
And you can sulk and pout all you want.
It was reported that Randy wanted out, and Belichick shipped him out the day or the week after that Miami game at Miami.
Traded him back to Minnesota.
Okay, so just for the record, in Randy's tenure in New England, his playoff record was 2-2. Obviously, one of the losses was to Eli when Brady had hit Randy Moss with his only playoff touchdown catch that he had in the postseason in those 3 years for New England.
Right.
And he averaged in those playoff games, the 4 playoff games, 3 catches and 36 yards. So he did not set the playoffs on fire the way he'd set that regular season in 07 on fire. I'm just trying to frame this for what is your legacy in New England? Yeah, you didn't win the championship, even though you should have. It took the luckiest throw in the history of the Super Bowl. But you didn't win it. Your restaurant closed, right? Okay, so the point is, then why would Belichick and Kraft show up for this induction? I don't know. It surprised me. And then Belichick, last night, he was at the Red Sox game, sitting up in the owner's box, and I'm thinking, well, I guess he's trying to one-up Brady by saying, gee, if you're going to miss all the OTAs, well, then maybe I can take some nights off in training camp, right?
You know, Skip, the fans in New England, they still revere Randy because of what he was able to do. And Randy said in his speech, Coach Belichick challenged me. And remember, I told you, great players want to be coached. They want to be pushed. And if they have questions, they want you to answer them. And the really good, the great coaches can get you to do things you don't think you can do.
I got that.
So he has the utmost respect for Coach Belichick.
Did he retire as a Patriot?
No.
Nope. He went back to Minnesota. And by the way, just in my mind's eye, I still see him as a Viking.
I think
he was 8 years a Viking, then he went back, and it lasted like 4 games. Then he went to Tennessee, and then he retired, and then he came back and played for San Francisco, and actually played in the San Francisco-Baltimore Super Bowl,
yes,
and caught a couple of balls.
Yes.
So he bounced around after that, but he didn't end well in New England. So it just seemed like a little bit of a reach for Belichick and Kraft to be part of that induction ceremony. It rubbed me the wrong way.
Randy said he was surprised. He did not know they were
Really?
going to come.
Okay.
Yeah, he didn't know they were there. When he was saying, Coach Belichick, I'm not going to forget about you, Coach Belichick was backstage. Randy had no idea that Mr. Kraft and Coach Belichick were there. He had no idea that they were going to be there. So he was shocked when he finished his speech and Coach Belichick and Mr. Kraft walked on stage. He was shocked. I mean, you could see the look on his face like, you guys are here?
Well, that's nice, but did they want to share the spotlight? I don't know.
Well, both
How it came across to me.
Both of those guys will have a gold jacket. The moment Coach Belichick, they should go ahead and just, like I said, there are some players, they should just go ahead and waive the 5-year wait. Coach Belichick, just go ahead and waive the 5-year wait. Mr. Kraft, I say within the next 5 years, he will have a gold jacket.
Well, did Belichick want to get inducted that night, like as an add-on at the end? Let's just go ahead and put him in the Hall of Fame.
Well,
I don't know.
He might wear flip-flops.
He might. So, now to the speeches. You knew and I knew exactly what Ray was going to do. And he did Ray. We got Ray sitting right here this football season and last football season on Undisputed. And we get that right here.
He's very animated.
Fire and brimstone preacher is Ray Lewis.
That's him.
And he did Ray. And it was great, but it was anticipated great. I did not see Randy Moss coming, and he stole the show. I'm sitting with Ernestine watching this, and she says, God, I love this guy, but she doesn't really know him as a player.
Right.
And I said, well, trust me on this. The time he spent in Minnesota, I'm not sure you would have loved him. Loved him? Like, there was one controversy after another in which he was verbally abusive, obviously to referees, to all people in authority, to sponsors, to teammates, to coaches. It was just one incident after another after another.
If she wouldn't have liked him in L.A., she would have despised him in Oakland.
She would have despised. Well, he just sort of took the year off in Oakland.
Yes.
Which he was prone to do. But I still love, I said Randy Moss for me was a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Yes.
But all of a sudden, to your point, he starts off with faith, family, and football. And I said, whew, where did that come from? Who is this guy?
Right.
And I bought it because he sold it genuinely. He didn't even need to sell it. It just came across like straight from the heart.
It did.
And I said, where did this spirituality come from? I didn't know he was a spiritual guy. And he just went on and on about how important God is in his life and how God and family come first and always came first. And Ashley said he retired at that one point because he had to go put his family back in order. Remember that?
Yes.
And going back and forth with his wife about it. And I saw a new guy. I saw a changed man that seemed genuinely changed.
Yes.
I don't know if his time on television has sort of helped him come out of his shell. I don't know. You could speak to that.
He's grown and matured, Skip. And I was talking to someone. I said, had this Randy Moss that we're listening to tonight, had he been his 13, 14-year career, we're having a discussion today, Skip. Randy might have been better than Jerry. He had that kind of ability, Skip Bayless. Had he had the maturity that he showed Saturday night, had he shown that in his 13, 14-year NFL career, Skip, we're having a serious, honest discussion that Randy Moss might be the best receiver to ever play in the NFL.
Well, he was the most devastating deep threat I ever saw. Nobody could cover.
The combination that he had, he was 6'4", he could run sub 4.3, he could have a 40-plus inch vertical, so he could high point the ball.
And he had great hands. Not good hands, he had great hands.
And tremendous run after the catch. And he could eat up the cushion because normally long striders, you're like, okay, he's not moving that fast. But he could eat up the cushion so quick. But the maturity that he's shown since he's been out of the league, and you watch him grow as an analyst, and you watch him grow as a father and as a person, you're like, damn, Randy, why? Sometimes it takes us longer to become the person that we want to become, that we need to become. But the fact of the matter is that he became that person. Sorry that it took so long. But Skip, he was special.
Can you imagine if he had been that person as a rookie in Minnesota with Chris Carter? Do you realize what that person could have done if he was locked in every game and trying 1,000% every snap? Do you know what would have happened? All time would have happened. Uncoverable would have happened. We saw what happened when he got happy in 2007 with Tom Brady, right?
Maybe it was a combination of a lot of things. Maybe it was a combination of all of a sudden Chris is not there to hold him accountable.
Yep.
Maybe Denny Green's not there to hold him accountable. He's the top chief. And when you're that, Skip, and you're as talented as he is, coaches that's coming in, maybe first-time coaches, they don't hold you accountable as Denny. Denny held guys accountable. Chris Carter was there somewhat of as a mentor. It's like, okay, nah, bro, that's not how we're going to do it. That's not how we do it. And so maybe he kind of lost his way a little bit. But listening at him talk, Skip, there's no question in my mind. We're having a different discussion today had he been the player in 13, 14 years that we saw on that stage on Saturday night.
We're going to talk much more deeply into the Terrell Owens, his private induction ceremony. But just to frame this for you, I've always said that Randy Moss was in another league from Terrell. And I covered several games in which they went head-to-head, even though obviously they don't cover each other, but they're on the same field at the same time. Randy Moss rose to every one of those occasions, not so much for Terrell. Randy Moss had high intangibles. Like when it was time, he could turn it on, but he had to want it. He had to decide, oh, today is important to me because Terrell Owens is on the other sideline. So watch this. I was at that one game in Minnesota. In fact, it was the Greg Knapp game when Terrell ranted in front of Greg Knapp on the sideline.
I remember.
That classic video. And after the game, that was when Terrell Owens, he stood on a sort of a little literal soapbox in the locker room, and he campaigned for Jeff Garcia to be replaced by the backup quarterback, Tim Rattay. So that was how Randy did that to him. He put him in that position of, I'm devastated. I got to fight back here. Maybe I need a new quarterback. I need a new coordinator. Because Randy Moss was spectacular. And in most of the head-to-heads, Randy Moss just took the game over because when he decided I'm going to do this, no one could cover him.
Skip, the thing is that when you have two great players and they play the same position, you're watching. When the other's on the field, you're standing on the edge of the sidelines and you're looking at see what's going on. When you don't play each other, you read the paper. You look and see what the highlights are. So you know what's going on. When I played against Tony, when I played against Ben Coates, I wanted to see what they were doing. I would read the paper. And I think the thing is that they had a healthy competition. I don't know if per se they were friends, they were friendly. And that's okay. But I don't want you to come to my building and show me up. I don't want to go to your building and have you show me up. So T.O. was like, they giving him opportunities because Randy wasn't coverable. They put the ball up. You look at Dante Culpepper, you look at Randall Cunningham, you look at all the guys, Brad, you look at all the guys that threw it to him. There was not a situation like, well, he got somebody on the throw. No. The 50-50 balls was really like 85-15 in his favor.
Agreed.
There was no 50-50 ball. It was 85-15. And T.O. couldn't understand. It was like, hey, I want that same opportunity. I'm equally as good as Randy. But that's not how the West Coast offense works, Skip. It went boom, boom, boom. And if you were covered or the quarterback, he was going somewhere else immediately. But that's not what they taught in that offense. Give him an opportunity. And more times than not, he made the play.
So sum it up for us. Obviously, you were very close with Ray Lewis. You became a big brother to him. In that first year you were in Baltimore, he had gone through his incident in Atlanta.
Correct.
He lived for a while in your basement.
That is correct.
Just to get away and to sort of start over and to retrain himself to eat right and train right with you.
Yes.
So what did Saturday night, in the end, after it was over, did you see in Ray? What did it mean to him?
Everything. I saw him. I went to his party on Friday night, Skip, and he walked up to me and he was like, "Shay," he says, "I've never witnessed or been to anything like the Ray Nitschke luncheon." He said to see that greatness and to have them speak.
That's that Friday.
That Friday. That's when they take the pictures, all the Hall of Fame, all the gold jackets. You take a picture. The new inductees, they're sitting down. They have their golf shirts on.
And it's private.
It's private. Only Hall of Famers in there. I think maybe once or twice they've allowed a report in there, but for the most part, it's only Hall of Famers and the new inductees.
Is there some roasting going on, like some sort
of... the new inductees can't talk.
Okay.
They're not allowed to speak. Only the guys that have the gold jackets are allowed to speak. And so a couple of the guys that went in the year before, they tell them about what it's like. And then the old guys will stand up and what this means. You're a part of a team now. This is not he was better, that one was better. You're a part of a team.
That's great.
What to expect, what they expect you to do, because now you're no longer representing you, you're representing us. Ooh. So any negative thing that you do reflects negatively on us. And Ray couldn't stop talking about it. He's like, Shay, man, to be in that room and to see Butkus and to see Mean Joe Green and to see all these guys that you grew up watching, and I'm like, I'm in the room there with them. And we're gonna talk about it with T.O. That's what you...
That's what he will miss. That.
Yeah. That.
Right.
Skip, it's an unbelievable honor to be there. All these guys that you grew up. Like I said, Jim Brown has been around a lot, cause in Cleveland, and Art Modell. So Jim is around, and some of the guys, Lenny Moore, he's at practice once a week. Lenny's 84 years old, but once a week, he's at a Baltimore Ravens practice. But to be there and to see that, Skip, and see all the guys how they're hugging and they're laughing and they're talking, and just. It's like a bunch, if you didn't know better, you swear a lot of these guys, they range in age from 45 to 85, and they're carried on like we're in high school. It's great.
It's the greatest team ever.
It's great.
Wow. Yep.
It's an unbelievable feeling.
Way to go.
The story is thank you for sharing. Thank you so much. I'm glad it was such a good time. Okay, the president went after LeBron over the weekend. Skip and Shannon will react to that next.
No mercy.
LeBron James was interviewed by CNN's Don Lemon last week and was asked about President Trump. LeBron said, quote, he's dividing us, and added that he would never meet with the president. On Friday, President Trump tweeted LeBron James was just interviewed by the dumbest man on television, Don Lemon. He made LeBron look smart, which isn't easy to do. I like Mike. The I like Mike obviously means Michael Jordan, who put out this statement, I support LJ. He's doing an amazing job for his community. Shannon, what is your reaction?
Skip, I'm not surprised that President Trump took this stance. We know he's been openly and blatantly critical of black professional athletes or black politicians that he feels take shots at him or do not pay him the respect that he feels the office of the president deserves. He looked at athletes in the NFL that kneeled as SOBs. He called Maxine Waters, who's a House of Representative,
Yep.
he called her low IQ. He said Don Lemon was dumb. He said LeBron is unintelligent. He says if you come from Haiti or one of these African countries, it's a poop hole country.
He did.
So we know what he said. Although Greg Popovich, every chance he gets, throwing hand grenades his way. Steve Kerr, every chance he gets, throws hand grenades his way. Not one word uttered. Dan Rather, who's one of the great newsmen of our generation, Skip, go way back.
Yep.
Every day he's on, not a word. So we see what he's doing here, Skip, and this, now it's not even dog whistle. He's just openly and blatant with it, and this is what I said all along. He's going to give a rise to a segment that feels it's okay to come out. Now I'm emboldened because I hear what he says. So if he says it, President of the United States, I can't be held to the same, I can be held to that's easy. If he's held to a standard where he can say whatever, who am I, Skip? So I should be able to get away with it. So I'm not surprised, but he picked the wrong guy and he picked the wrong week. Skip, this interview was done on Monday. Don Lemon re-aired it on his show on Friday. and LeBron has been more critical. At one point, he called him a bum. Skip, all he said that he believed that in this interview, he believed that President Trump is trying to divide the country. And I believe he's using sports to do it. That's all he said.
Yep.
But that's not what ruffled Mr. Trump's, President Trump's feathers. It was when Don Lemon asked him, would he be willing to sit down or sit across from President Trump? And he said, no, but I would sit down and sit across from Barack. That what did it. You don't want to sit, because think about all the dignitaries from near and far that wants an opportunity to sit down, sit across from President Trump. And here it is, LeBron James, Skip Bayless, African American, in America. I'm the president, the highest elected official in the land, and you don't want to have a conversation with me? You don't want to sit across from me? No. The man opens. How can you say someone is unintelligent? The guy's probably worth $500 million. And when they say, well, you know, well, he started on first base or he started on second or third base. LeBron James didn't even have a bat. He started from scratch. And to get with no college education, with no dominant father figure, he didn't have a dad. Now, as he mentions as he got older, he got with people that treated him like a son and became dominant male figures in his life. But to get to where he got to, Skip, and to be able to do, he opened a school. Kids get breakfast, lunch, Skip, they get snacks. They go to school from 8 to 5. He says, I want a lot of the time because I want them to think that there's a better way than what's out there on them streets. All the great education. Your mom and dad, if they don't have college education, don't worry, but we're gonna get them a GED. We're gonna try to find them jobs. We're gonna get them placed. We're gonna make Akron better. And guess what? If you stick with this program and you graduate high school, go to University of Akron on my dime, on my foundation's dime. But he's unintelligent. Skip, the one thing, if there is a good thing about being 50, is that I know when a white person says someone is unintelligent, when someone says, because that's what's been said for the longest time. See, I see those I understand. He's taking shots at blacks because in his base, and we know that's a distraction. We hear what came out over the weekend, Skip. He knew that was coming out.
Yep.
So he uses this as a distraction. But you picked the wrong guy to say who's unintelligent. I'll talk about Michael's statement after I hear what you have to say.
So, to me, this is nothing short of pathetically comical on the president's part. To even suggest that LeBron James is dumb is just plain dumb. As I say over and over on this show, LeBron James has the highest IQ in basketball. And to me, in making off-the-court career decisions, no athlete has ever been smarter, longer than LeBron has. He just doesn't make a bad decision. And when it comes to talking about or taking stands on political or social or racial issues, has any athlete in the history of sports ever been more eloquent or insightful or courageous than LeBron James has? I don't think so. I could be wrong, but I don't think so.
You know who he's on par with, Skip? Ali.
He is.
He's our Ali.
It's different than Ali.
Yeah.
Because it was like Ali versus the world, but LeBron is leading a whole community forward. He's become a spokesman, and it's a beautiful thing to watch because it's not easy to do.
No.
Even the president's wife, the first lady, defended LeBron on this one.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to suggest that maybe even some of President Trump's supporters might have sat back on this one and said, hold on just a second. I think, Mr. President, I think you went a little too far with this one because not this guy.
Right.
Not this guy. You could maybe go over here, but you can't do that guy. And obviously, in the end, this only helps LeBron. This will make him even more popular and more beloved, which is great because he deserves it in this venue. So, to me, you know, obviously, I've criticized LeBron for basketball meltdowns. I even criticized him for the language he used in the pep talk to his son's 13-year-old team the other day, the AAU team. But in the big picture, you can't even start with this guy. So to me, it was just like flailing. You know, it's just, and again, you've pointed out, does he just need to create a distraction? Well, maybe there's not a better way to create a distraction than to suggest LeBron James is not smart, right? Is that the ultimate deflection, distraction?
The guy's opening it up a school.
Yeah. I mean,
and you're going to say
well, come on. Well, that's why I'm saying this is just comical to me. It's hard to even take it very seriously. But go on about Michael Jordan.
I was disappointed in his response. It's so far removed. His PR person releases a statement and says, I support LJ for what he's doing in his community. Skip, I believe if President Trump would have said, there's some dumb reporter that's sitting down with an athlete and making him look smart, which is very hard to do, a simple response might have been in order. But President Trump didn't do that. he went Don Lemon by name. He went LeBron James by name.
He did.
So when he does this by name, I believe the retort should also name him. And it should also be equally as harsh. This is the one time, Michael, you have a criticized get out of free jail pass because of what President Trump said about Don Lemon, what he said about LeBron James, given his track record over the last year, what he said about other prominent African Americans. And you chose, you support LJ, you support Edwards what? As a father? As a family man? What actually are you supporting? You see, Skip, Michael wants to swim, but he doesn't want to get wet. You see what he did here? Oh, this statement. And everybody, Michael Jordan comes to LeBron's defense. With this statement, that's not a defense. Everybody is like, well, you know, that he is the president. He's not thinking about that when he's calling people dumb. Yep. He's not thinking about he's the president when he's saying these people are from poop hole countries. He's not thinking about him as the president. But we should reserve that, like, okay, we got to show him respect. Well, I'm going to respect the man that respects the office of the president. And he's not doing that. So I was very, very disappointed. And I was hoping, because I tweeted, Skip, Michael, I understand that Republicans buy sneakers and drink Gatorade and wear underwear, but he brought you in it. Shows you how, I like Mike. It's be like Mike. I like Ike. They're two different. Ike was Dwight D. Eisenhower. I like Ike, be like Mike. But that's neither here nor there. I don't want to talk about the president's intelligence or intellect. That's for you to debate. Okay. But I was very disappointed in Mike's response. I told you, I tell the story all the time, Jenny, that my grandfather told my brother and I, anything is better than nothing, but you two fellas are real close to nothing. That statement was as close to nothing as you could possibly get. That was nothing. And then what he tried to do, Skip, he tried to frame it. He said, LJ. There are very, very few people that call LeBron James LJ. It's normally that circle of his, the four horsemen, Richie Paul, Dallas, Maverick Carter, Mims, those guys initial. He wanted to make it personal, LJ. Really, Mike? The man says this, and all you got is that you support him for what he's doing in this community. After somebody took a shot like that at LeBron. Nah, that's not how we're supposed to do it. Simple as this. Kin or skin, we ride. You take a shot at us, we take a shot back at you. I'm not gonna let you burn my house down and all I'm gonna do is run over your mailbox. Nah, bruh, I'm coming back at you. Believe that.
Eye for an eye.
Yeah, believe it.
Okay, let's differentiate here. I always defend Michael Jordan on this show as the greatest player ever in any sport, but that's a basketball thing.
Yes.
This is an off the court. This is a political, social, racial thing that we're talking about. Have I ever defended Michael on that count? I have not, because he is indefensible. LeBron's in another league or universe from Michael, because he never even tried to play that game one time.
Right.
So you said that in the president's tweet, he named Don Lemon and he named LeBron James.
Right.
He also named Mike, and everybody knew who he was talking about, that was Michael Jeffrey Jordan he referred to. Well, remember, that is the sneaker-selling kiss of death for Michael Jordan, right? It put him in a bad spot. Like, I don't want to be aligned with you. Right. Like don't put me on your side, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So now he's got to respond quickly, PR-wise, the statement indicating LeBron and I are like that, right? He's got to go LJ. I've never heard anybody do LJ. Not one of his four horsemen have ever called him LJ publicly, like in an interview.
Right.
Like LJ and I were talking about. Nobody ever says that.
Call him LeBron.
Yeah, he's LeBron. And so for Michael to go LJ was a little lame. It was a little weak. It was a little bit of a reach, like, oh, we're tight.
buddy.
No. So I'm with you on this, but he's trying to do damage control because the president had aligned Michael with the president. Like, I like Mike. It's like he's on my side. No, he's not. He's not on your side, but he's on nobody's side. Right?
Right. And that's how he looks at it, Skip, because he looks at it like, okay, there are people that in his base or whatever that buy sneakers, but this is the one time, Skip, he had to criticize the president, get out of free jail pass, because he could have said, Mr. President, I disagree with you, and this rhetoric and these comments, they're divisive, and they do not help.
Too far. That's too far to go for him. You can't get him to go that far. He's got to stay on the surface and just try to unalign himself with the president to protect his Jordan brand.
Well, you can't go swim without getting wet.
All right. Well, that's what just happened.
That's exactly what happened.
Well, and by the way, that line that Republicans buy sneakers too, that was about the 1990 Jesse Helms Senate race in North Carolina. And it was in Sam Smith's first book, The Jordan Rules. And it was supposedly a friend told Sam that Michael said that. And then there was a lot of disagreement about where it came from. And it's kind of stuck to Michael. I'm not sure he said that, but do I think that's sort of his sort of MO in life? Yeah, I do.
But at some point in time, Skip, at what point in time I can assure you, he's not going to lose 20 million people, 10 million people are not going to start buying Air Jordans because you criticize someone and you don't like the remarks that they're making. That's the problem. If every prominent person just sit there and say like, okay, that's the president, I don't want to get involved, we're in terrible shape.
I know, but he just didn't want people to sort of blindly leap to the conclusion that he's somehow a Trump supporter, like that. That would be.
No, we're not. Well, that's not a LeBron supporter because you talk about I support LJ. What you support him as what? What are you supporting LeBron doing? Because I know what President Trump said, and that's what you got.
No specifics.
That's my point. When he's specific in his critique, you need to be specific in your retort. And it's equally as harsh. But that's the thing. They let him get away with that, and even in his own party. Well, these comments are unacceptable. Say these comments by the president is unacceptable. Because anybody could have said that. Who is LJ? Is Larry Johnson? You support Larry Johnson?
Maybe.
Say LeBron James' name.
That way. The other athletes, though, that came to his defense, that that was pretty special.
Absolutely. He doesn't realize it, but he's doing a great job of galvanizing a group that normally that was totally splintered, but he's bringing them together.
I said that.
Appreciate that.
Yep.
No mercy. Terrell Owens did exactly what he said he would do on Saturday. Instead of showing up to Canton, he had his own Hall of Fame induction ceremony at his alma mater, the University of Tennessee, Chattanooga. This morning, Pro Football Talk reported the Hall is considering a new rule that would require players to show up in Canton. On Saturday, T.O. donned the traditional gold jacket and he had a message for his critics. Take a listen.
To the critics and doubters, those individuals who have smiled in my face but defamed me behind my back, you know who you are. This is for you. There's been a lot of speculation and false reports as to why I chose not to be there. I would like to set the record straight. It's not because how many times it took for me to be voted into the Hall. It's about the mere fact that the sports writers are not in alignment with the mission and core values of the Hall of Fame. I wanted to take a stand so the next guy coming after me will not have to go through what I and others have gone through. Whether it's 3 years or 45 years, you should get what you rightfully earned.
Well, Shannon, since you were in Canton, I'm curious, what was the reaction to T.O. there?
It was mixed. There were some guys that were perfectly fine. T.O. earned it right. He's a Hall of Famer. And if he chose not to be here, that's well within his right. But some guys were very, very disappointed. It's like, we're here. We're a family. You're a part of this family. It's like, Skip, you got brothers and sisters and mom and dad, and you go get, you announce you're getting married, and all of a sudden you go off and nobody gets invited. You do your own thing. And so that's how, it's like one guy, and that's how he explained it to me. He said, it's a marriage. Okay, you get selected. You're about to get the gold jacket, but until you say I do, it's really not a marriage yet.
Yeah.
So some guys were really, really upset. I'm not surprised that they're looking at changing the bylaws that says even before the selection committee, Skip, even before they get down to it and you actually get in, are you willing to come?
Need to know.
Because if you're not, it's going to weigh heavily on whether or not you put, it's probably going to keep you out.
You good with that rule?
No.
Because?
If he doesn't want to come, he doesn't want to come. Would I love for T.O. to be there? Yes. Not for the...
But you're okay going forward if player X, Y, or Z says, I don't want to come either?
I feel comfortable saying, Skip, that I believe this was a one-off. Because it's such a great art. Guys are disappointed. I'm sure everybody wants to be a first ballot.
Yep.
But the validation is there. You got the gold jacket. You're going to have the bus.
Yep.
And like I said, 75% of the guys that's in the hall didn't get in on the first ballot. 75% of the receivers didn't get in on the first ballot. So T.O. is not the anomaly.
Yep.
This is what normally happens. I get it. But to miss the luncheon, to miss the ceremony that Friday night where your presenter puts that jacket and all those other gold jackets are standing. Because at first, Skip, you walk through and they're lined up. And they're clapping for you. Think about this now. Gold jackets, the best of the best. From the Mel Blunts to the Joe Greens, the Lawrence Taylors, all the greatest of the greats. They're clapping for you.
Yep.
And your presenter's on stage and they take the jacket from David Baker and they put that jacket on you. That feeling that I had for my brother, all those cold days and those hot summers of him and I, only he and I knew that moment what that was about, what it felt. And I felt it the very time that he felt it.
Yep.
He missed that.
He did.
And I just hope eventually he can let it. But this is what I will say. They say we'll welcome him with open arms. He's a part of the family. And although family might make you upset, we never turn our back on family. So T.O., just so you know, bro, you come, it'll be like you were at the induction last year.
Yep.
No hard feelings, none whatsoever.
I agree with your point. I think this will be a one-off. I just can't imagine any other player going forward will ever do this again. There's only one T.O., for better, for worse. I have talked for years on national TV about his career. I covered the first part of his career in San Francisco. The truth is, I'm tired of talking about his career, and I'm hoping we can put this to bed and to rest from this point forward. What's done was done over the weekend. 3 times on national TV that I can remember, maybe more, I have gone face-to-face with Terrell Owens, once right here on Undisputed. He sat right there, and you refereed, right?
Yep.
And we went chapter and verse about his demise, San Francisco and Philadelphia and Dallas, 3 very good teams, potential Super Bowl teams that I believe he helped take apart. And he came back at me with refuting every point that I made. So I haven't defamed him behind his back. I haven't lied behind his back. These are facts that I presented to him that he presented back to me in his view.
Right.
So it's up to the audience. You pick the truth.
Right.
Maybe I'm wrong.
No, Skip. He's mainly talking about players. That's who he's mainly talking about.
All right. Fair enough. So he goes to core values of the Hall of Fame. He goes to the rules that say that any trouble a player has gotten into off the field should not be taken into account in his selection into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, correct?
Correct.
But many prominent voters, many of them friends of mine, though I'm not a voter, but many have been quoted publicly as saying, in this case, the trouble that Terrell caused was all within the football team concept and within the confines of football. It was in the locker room or in interviews about teammates or coaches or coordinators.
Or the sidelines.
Or the sidelines, or sometimes even in the huddle. So all I know is, as I've told Terrell, is that in his prime, at the height of his powers as a receiver, and he was all-time great. There's no refuting that.
No.
And you've made his case many times across from me on this show. But in his prime, I was there. The 49ers and Terry Donahue, the GM, and Steve Mariucci, the coach, they could not wait to get rid of Terrell Owens and basically gave him away to Philadelphia, where in only his second year, he got sent home. And ultimately cut by the Eagles, where I thought it was going to be such a great landing spot for him because Donovan McNabb early on loved him, and then they fell apart, and Andy Reid fell apart, and Brad Childress fell apart with Terrell Owens. And the locker room was split down the middle. Hugh Douglas was angry and remains a little angry at Terrell, and we could go on and on about that. And he goes to Dallas. And he did last 3 years, but it didn't end well there in Dallas, where Bill Parcells had little to no use for T.O., and finally he was cut by the Dallas Cowboys. These are all at in the heart of his prime. So in the end, none of this surprised me, what happened on Saturday, because in the end, Terrell is a grandstanding, blame-deflecting solo act who struggled to operate within a team context in the ultimate team sport that is pro football. He wanted so badly to be a basketball player, and I wish for his sake he could have been, because there are only 5 guys, 4 others on the court. You can have more touches in basketball, right? If you're the best player in the team, you're going to get it a whole lot more than the receiver's going to get the football. And yet, in the end, he even rejected the greatest team ever assembled, your team. He just couldn't stand it. He needed to keep the chip on his shoulder. He needed to keep his sympathy card. And he went to Chattanooga, and he did it. He almost upstaged what you guys did on Saturday night, because he did it earlier in the day on Saturday.
At 317.
He did.
You know why the 317?
No, I never heard that.
He's the 317th member of the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Okay. And that way, he didn't have to share any of the spotlight with Randy Moss, Ray Lewis, or Brian Dawkins, or Urlacher. We can go on and on. He didn't have to share any. He got the total spotlight on him, and it worked. And it's actually PR genius if you want to go to just pure self-promotion, because he got a stage to himself. And all afternoon, I'm watching NFL Network and ESPN, and they're all showing snippets of his Chattanooga session. That was his session. So he preempted what you did. He upstaged you, and if that's what you want, that's smart.
And another reason why I don't want it, because I don't want it to be known as the T.O. rule, because that's what it will be.
He would love that.
Giving him that attention.
No. No.
Okay, that's fair.
Let him, look, if you don't want to, Skip, if you don't want to come, you don't have to come. That's your choice. He's earned it right. His accomplishments on the field says, you know what? He deserves a gold jacket. He deserves a bus. If he doesn't want to come partake in the ceremony, which is the doing the speech on Saturday, the Nitschke luncheon on Friday, or the jacket presentation Friday night, so be it. I mean.
And then he took a shot at the Hall of Fame during his speech in Chattanooga, saying that it was even difficult for him to get his gold jacket early in Chattanooga. Well, I'm not surprised by that.
No, they don't get those jackets.
Come on.
Skip, let me tell you how they do it. When you get the jacket Friday night, when they put the jacket on you, before you go to your hotel room, they take the jacket back.
It's for Saturday night.
Yes.
It's for public consumption. There's a big national TV ceremony.
Yes.
And you're going to get your gold jacket, right?
Yes.
So they shipped his down to him. So that he could have it early.
Right, because they're going to say, no, we're not going to give you yours early when no one else can get theirs until Friday. And then they take it back from you. So the earliest that someone was going to see that jacket outside of the presentation was going to be Saturday. So he wanted his Friday. But I'm glad someone was able to drive it down, got that taken care of, and that's not an issue. He got his jacket. He's happy. I thought he did a good job. I thought he did a good job. I'm not surprised how his speech turned out. I know he was going to say some things about people that he feel has wronged him. The writers, he felt wronged him. But he gave some credit. You know, Ray Sherman, who was one of his position coaches, Larry Kirksey. So kudos for him. That's the way he chose to go about his business, Skip. But I do believe this is a one-off, and I don't believe moving forward. Because Jerry Kramer waited 45 years.
And I know Jerry went a little long on Saturday night, but he deserved it. I wasn't mad about it.
Dude, if he went an hour, we like, bro, y'all made me wait 45 years.
Just go.
I'm going 2 minutes for every year y'all made me wait. So we're going to be here an hour and a half.
I love that. I hope T.O. makes the right decision next year. And he is hanging out with you.
I hope so.
I hope so. Okay, why did a former teammate take a shot at Cam Newton this weekend? We'll discuss that next.
No mercy.
Kelvin Benjamin apparently had a lot to get off his chest on Friday. The former Panther and current Buffalo Bill called out Carolina and specifically Cam Newton, Benjamin said, quote, "I just think Carolina was a bad fit for me. It was a bad fit from the get-go. If you would have put me with any other quarterback, let's be real, you know what I'm saying? Any other accurate quarterback like Aaron Rodgers or Eli Manning or Big Ben, anybody, quarterbacks with knowledge that know how to place the ball and give you a better chance to catch the ball." Wow. Then Cam posted this video on Instagram.
I ain't gonna go back and forth with him. I'm just gonna work, you feel me? That's all it is. You know what it is. Just work, baby.
All right, we had the quote and then we had the video. Shannon, what do you make of this?
I just want to know when guys are going to take responsibility and accountability for what's going on in their life, Skip. I mean, was it Cam's fault that Kelvin Benjamin showed up at 280-plus pounds as a wide receiver? And then he's going to say, well, you know, if I had Aaron Rodgers, then he put Eli.
Eli? Well, he said anybody.
Anyone.
Yeah.
Dude. Okay, you had Tyrod Taylor and Nathan Peterman. How'd you do last year? Now, this is what we know about Cam. Cam was Rookie of the Year without Kelvin Benjamin.
He was.
Cam Newton won the MVP the year Kelvin Benjamin was hurt. So, Cam was like, if I had Antonio Brown or Julio Jones, I would be more accurate.
Good point.
I'm throwing a football where I think a 6'4", 230-pound receiver should be. In actuality, it's a 285-pound offensive lineman out there trying to run a comeback or a dig route. Dude showed up at 280 pounds, but that's Cam's fault. Dude, you could do a lot worse than Cam Newton. Y'all make it. Is Cam Aaron Rodgers with his accuracy or Tom Brady? No. But, dude, Cam Newton is an MVP. Cam Newton is a damn good quarterback. And for you to be upset, I don't know what's going on now. It was reported that he lost his mom, and I get that, Skip. Sometimes when emotion is high, logic is really, really low. But to come out and take a shot at Cam, talking about it was a bad fit, no. The buffet was a bad fit because you ate yourself out of a job in Carolina. That was the problem. And I'm tired of these athletes. It's always someone else's fault other than their own. You did that to yourself. Skip, his rookie year, he had 73 catches, over 1,000 yards, 9 touchdowns, 145 targets. Had 900 yards 3 years later, and then they's like, bruh, we can't. I mean, we see your work ethic. We see how you, come on, man. So you're in Buffalo. You don't have Cam. So now you say anybody. You got a bunch, you got Josh Allen, you got Peterman, and
A.J. McCarron.
A.J. McCarron. So let me see what you're going to put that work in up there, bruh. Put that work in Buffalo. You said anybody.
Yeah.
So we about to see.
So right here, right now, would you rather have Cam Newton or A.J. McCarron or Nathan Peterman or young Josh Allen, rookie Josh Allen? Who would you rather have?
Hell, I'll take Woody Allen.
Yeah. Okay, Woody Allen. Well, you in the end, you'd want to have Cam Newton.
Come on, Skip. This is not even. This dude is talking about he anybody other than Cam Newton. That makes it seem like Cam Newton keep completing 30% of his balls. Is he a 65, 68% guy like these top guys like Rodgers or Breeze or Brady? No. But Cam's a good quarterback.
Yep, he is. He's proven that
Yes.
again and again in this league. So Kelvin Benjamin then tweeted that he needed to feel free. He needed to unburden himself. And I do understand that. Like you got something on your chest that you truly believe that you were handicapped by this man in Carolina. And so you need to defend yourself by just releasing it publicly. I get that. But at what price? You have to ask yourself.
Yes.
At what price? You're going to better yourself and do what to Cam Newton? Because, look, Cam Newton still bears the burden of being a black quarterback. I don't care what you say. And to call into question, a black receiver calling into question his knowledge?
Yes.
Well, after all we've been through, after all the progress we have made, and that,
you see what his head coach in Buffalo?
he just said no. He told him no. Wrong place, wrong time, wrong statement. He took him to task. And he should have, because it's just out of bounds. You just can't do it. And I get it that he needed to tell somebody, this is how I felt in Carolina. I don't think it's the truth.
No.
Even though you might have believed it. And we got another, this is the diva receiver. You know how that goes.
Well, normally diva receivers are really good.
Yeah.
The AB and Odell and Mike Evans, these guys are really good.
Yeah.
They don't normally,
I know. Terrell Owens was really good.
Yes.
Randy Moss was really good.
Right.
Yeah.
We understand that they come along with some issues. But you talking about he had to get something off his chest. It was heartburn. Too many tacos, 280. That's all I know. 280 pounds for a wide receiver. So what routes was Cam supposed to run? How was he supposed to throw him the ball?
I don't know. But I don't think this is going to turn out so well for Kelvin because now he has brought a spotlight onto himself that I wasn't paying that much attention to.
I got to watch. I got to watch.
You got to watch.
I got to watch the game. I got to watch the game
because you got to critique. How many did you catch today, Kelvin? AJ make you look like a star today? Because I think it's going to be AJ McCarron.
Yeah, Cam was like, man, if I had AB, if I had Julio, I would have that kind of completion percentage like Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers. But I didn't. And look at what happened when he got hurt and Ted again. They went to the Super Bowl without their number one receiver. Cam was the MVP, and it wasn't close without their number one receiver. So the Carolina Panthers had their best record. Quarterback had his best season without you.
Yep.
And you talking about they held you back. Look at Cam's numbers when you're not playing, and look at Cam's numbers when you are playing, and you tell me Cam is the problem.
What did I tell you before the draft? I told you the best receiver is that kid from Maryland, DJ Moore, and that Dallas should have taken him. I still don't know why they didn't, but they didn't, and he fell down to Cam Newton. So let's see what DJ Moore does in Carolina. And again, Norv Turner, I'm not the biggest fan of Norv Turner, but we'll see how he does with Cam. Norv Turner's son is the quarterback coach. We'll see how that works out. But I can tell you that DJ Moore will be better long-term or even short-term than Kelvin Benjamin.
And Cortland Sutton, tearing it up in Denver.
Sutton. He is.
If they SMU, you right there down. Oh, they say he killing it.
I know. I said I loved him.
They say he challenging for a starting job, too. You think Dallas could have used that? Big body. Say, oh, you talking about high point the ball? Say all the 50-50 balls, he getting 75% of them, Skip. They say remind you of somebody else you know.
Yeah, meanwhile in Cowboy camp, that kid they took from Boise State, what's his name? Leighton something? I don't even know.
Vander Esch.
Leighton Vander Esch. They say he's still running like third team. I don't know.
Third team?
Hadn't taken over camp yet.
Not yet.
No.
Just a little bit.
I bet I can't even believe Benjamin would say something like this. Talk about the man knowledge.
Yeah, well, guess who plays each other Thursday? Bills Panthers. We're all attention.
I don't think we probably won't see a whole lot of Cam.
No, but I mean, we're gonna.
Cam, stay in the locker room. Don't even.
Is there?
See now, if Cam do what Double T got old Draymond, see you talking all crazy.
You think you're? Is that what you're recommending?
No, Cam did it right. I ain't gonna go back and forth. Cam said, I'm out here living my best life. But
I know what Shannon Sharp would be if he were in Cam's shoes during warm-ups on Thursday night. I think you might venture out to the 50 and have a little something to say.
Oh, I'd have been on the internet. Oh, I'd have got him.
Right?
I'd have got him on it. Ooh, with this platform, with the IG and Twitter, I'd have got him. Oh, I'd have told him up.
Yeah.
Don't crush him.
I'd have told him. Oh, I'd have got him.
He knows what to do. Okay, well, you might not be happy with this Vegas because they're saying the Lakers will not win 50 games.
What?
This
Vegas don't know anything.
Are they right? We'll discuss that next.
No, Vegas.
Watch out,
right.
Vegas.
No mercy.
Well, we all know the Lakers added LeBron to their roster last month, so their expectations have gone way up. Their over-under was set at 48.5 wins by Westgate. That's tied for the fourth most wins in the West with the Jazz, behind the Warriors, Rockets, and Thunder. Last year, the Lakers won just 35 games. Shannon, are you surprised by this number?
Shocked.
Yes.
Why?
Yeah, Westgate.
You know it's the truth.
You know what, Skip? I went and talked to the man at the Pearly Gates. And he said they're going to win between 50 and 55 games.
So he's on LeBron's team, too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Team Bron.
Great.
Oh.
LeBron James is worth 15 to 20 wins. They won 35 games last year. 15 will put him at 50. 20 will put him at 55. Now, see.
You want to go to 55?
Hold on.
You just said it. It came out of your mouth.
You ain't got no problem.
You keep going 55, 55. Put your due where your mouth is.
You don't have any problem with Westgate saying they're going to win 48.5 games. Can they win 48.5 games, Skip? You criticized me. Pick one or the other. You got to pick one or the other.
Well, you're the one who says he's the greatest player ever.
55.
4. It came out of your mouth again. You keep angling toward 55.
Can I get 53 and a half?
No, you cannot.
Nah.
This is 48 and a half. Boy, I think that's even.
But hold on.
Really?
But
Yeah.
even at 48 and a half, they got them at what, Skip? 4th. Mm-hmm. The 3rd seed, they got the OKC at 50 and a half.
Mm-hmm.
So they right there. And I've been telling you, they'll be 3rd, 4th seed. That's what I've been trying to tell you. And Westgate agreed with me. Where Westgate and I differ is the total, the number of wins we're going to have to get that 3rd seed.
Okay.
We're going to get 53. We're going to get 54 wins because I got to get that due.
Which brings me to 4 teams I cannot fathom in this new Westgate projection. Let's look at the Portland Trailblazers, shall we?
Yeah.
They won 49 games last year and finished 3rd in the West.
Yes.
That's pretty good. 49 games. This has them at 41.5.
Yes.
So they had a, what is that?
7 games.
7.5
game loss. Yep.
And they got worse how? Explain it to me.
They
They
got
lost
better how?
who?
They got better how?
Okay, they're the same. Their starting 5 is exactly the same.
Come down.
They lost Shabazz Napier. Is that a 7.5 game
good,
drop?
good,
He did. He was a difference
unit
maker.
guy. Good
and
unit guy.
they added a Curry, maybe not Steph Curry, but Seth Curry, who can really shoot it. We had him on the show last year. He can really shoot it. And they still got Wade Baldwin IV, who's from Vanderbilt, and he can really. You saw him in the summer league. He can light it up, man. So I think he's going to start to play a role.
Light it up.
Okay, well, he did. He lit it up. But I'm just saying, Portland is not going to be worse. 49 games down to 41.5. That's just crazy.
What about the other team?
Okay, how about New Orleans? They caught fire late. They didn't have Boogie, obviously.
Okay.
Now they don't have Rondo, but they do have Drew Holiday, and they still have that other big guy in the middle who's pretty good. And once they added Mirotic, it just seemed to click. And once Mirotic got there, they just went on a tear, man. And what did they do to Portland in the first round? It was good. Okay. All right. So they're going to plummet. They're going to go down 2.5 games. I don't think so. They're going to be exactly what they were last year. They did not get worse. I'll throw out your T-Wolves. They won 47 games last year, and you were bullish from the start. Minnesota.
Yep.
I
all
wanted
Minnesota.
to be on your side there.
Okay.
But
And yet they did somehow make the 8th seed. I don't know how they did it, but they won 47 games last year. This projects them 2.5 games worse at 44.5. Did they get worse? Yep. How did they get worse? What happened?
The worst is that Jimmy Butler is unhappy because of the work ethic of those 2 young guys.
Okay.
And he's like, guys, this is not how we're going to win. But you keep no. There's another team that you know and love.
I'm saving them for last. So my San Antonio Spurs last year won 47 games, and they did it with almost no Kawhi Leonard. In fact, he was a detriment to that team because he hung over that team the whole year. Is he going to play? Is he not going to play? Finally, they have this big clash, big team meeting, closed doors, put him on the hot seat. You going to play?
No.
I don't know. Didn't say nothing. And nothing happened, and he did not play. And they still won 47 games. And guess what? Maybe they don't have Kawhi back, but DeMar DeRozan, I'm not the biggest fan, but he's a, 4-time All-Star?
So what did they say? They got DeMar DeRozan, minus Kawhi, who didn't play but played only 9 games last year. And how many games are they supposed to win?
43.5. So they're supposed to plummet from 47 to 43.5. Ain't happening. They will be at least as good as they were last year, if not a little better. They're like a 49-win team, which makes them slightly better than the Lakers.
43 wins will get you to the playoffs.
I think they're going to be better than the Lakers.
You want to put something on
Yeah, I do. I think they'll finish higher than the Lakers.
Higher what? Yeah, in the lottery, they will.
No.
You're absolutely right.
Nope, in games 1.
No.
1-loss record. I'll do it. I'll do a case of on that. You got like 7 already, right? I'll do a case on that. I will. They're going to be pretty good.
No, they're not.
Yep. Got it.
Okay,
I'm good.
Good. Okay, you win 44 games. That's not going to be more than us.
Yeah.
We'd be 5.5, 6 games clear, you guys. Easy.
We have Greg Popovich coaching. You have Luke Walton attempting to coach the most difficult to coach team in the history of the NBA.
We saw Luke over a 43-game stretch go 39-4.
With the Golden State.
No, what?
Are you comparing this team to Golden State? I don't think so.
Did he coach the team?
So, and we left out Denver, which won 46, and this is projecting them to be a little better because they're going to be a little better with Isaiah
47.
Thomas. Wow. Look at the logjam of good teams at the bottom of these standings. So the Lakers are going to be just one of several fighting for life at the bottom of the Western Conference playoffs. What do you mean fighting
at the bottom? They say we're going to be third or fourth.
They say that, but now you have to go do that. And what they say is just a projection to make people bet.
Okay, last year, the Cleveland Cavaliers won 50 games. Can you tell the people at home that doesn't have these sheets what's their projection
30
this year?
Yeah, I like them to win more than 30.
So in other words, they're saying LeBron James is worth 19 and a half games.
Yeah.
So if I do that by my mathematics, 19 and a half from one team added to 19 and a half to the other team, that's exactly 54.5 wins. What I've been saying.
I'll take Cleveland winning more than 30 for another case. You want that?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, thank you. Do the do.
I do.
Thank you.
A lot of
Done.
bets going on today.
I'm going to have a swimming pool full of do.
Do we have any more bets?
They traded.
You know what? I'm going to be able to move up into Bel Air where you live.
They traded for Sam Decker. They think they're getting that Sam Decker from Wisconsin.
I don't care about Sam Decker.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
In fact, I think that trade dropped them 2 games. Actually, they were going to be 32, and then they heard about Decker, and it went down to 30.
So, okay. So Larry Nance Jr. I mean, those guys playing well.
Jordan Clarkson.
Okay.
I have to
TT,
say I
you
had
like
some
double T?
I love double T.
This weekend in Minnesota, I thought of
Yeah,
you. Big,
really?
it's very popular in the Midwest.
You thought of
Mountain
me
Dew.
over the weekend?
Oh, yeah, I just had some Diet Mountain Dew. I want to see what he was talking about.
Wow.
It's not that bad.
Yeah, it's not that bad. It's actually very good.
It's bad for you.
No mercy.
Thanks for listening to the Undisputed podcast. I'm Jenny Taft. Join us again at the same time tomorrow morning, 9:30 Eastern. We'll see you then.